Yahuar Huaca. The one who cried blood. Yahuar Huaca, the moment of truth has come. You have to prove who you are. A predicament that we all must face in the solitary voyage of our lives. Man of the future, I presume that you have already judged me on the basis of my unfortunate childhood. Titu, if I may call you that. Because nobody spills tears of blood. Perhaps, your original name of Titacusi Walpa, joyous rooster, would have been more augurious. Man of the future, you seem to have empathy for the plight of others, or are you softening my soul for the final blow of our bloody history? I am afraid so, because some chroniclers have not given you a proper place in our history. Whatever they wrote about me won't change our destiny. But, you seem to be intent in raising the dust of our bones. What for? Inca, to reach to the truth of who we are. Then, let me tell you who we were. Sometimes so wicked that it was beyond my comprehension. Yahuar, wickedness is common to all humanity. Let us talk about your adulthood, which is not clear. Something must have happened after your expedition to the jungle that you stopped going on any further excursions. Instead, you sent your brothers Apo Meta and Vicaquiro. Why? I did, because the Chancas were forming dangerous liaisons within my own subjects. You must realize that these events took years, meanwhile we kept weak alliances among ourselves through marriage arrangements and bribery. Then the Inca people were very conflictive. A problem present throughout your life? I would say that it was difficult to get them united, and the strife between the Huelacans and the Ayarmancas are far from over. To maintain peace, I had children with both factions. The problem will be when I have to name the inheritor to the throne. It is said that you had 50 children with the more than 20 wives. Not a bad predicament to be in. You are being facetious. It was a serious matter, because they were all fighting for the right to carry the future heir in their wombs. As far as me having many wives, that is not true. I only had 2 whom I could call official, the rest were my concubines. I have 3 legitimate children on the side of the Ayarmancas, Paucar Alo, Pawar Walpa, and Hatan Topa Inga. With the Huelacans I have Visho Topa, Marcayuto, and Inga Roca. Since we are discussing family affairs, I want you to come with me and see them. As we entered the palace, children were running everywhere. One of them, Pawar Walpa, comes and Titu picks him up in his arms. Pawar. Pawar. My little prince, you are growing. Soon, you will help me, ah. Father, my cousins from the Huelacans are inviting me to go to their city. Can I go? Pawar, I don't know if I should let you go. Anything can happen to you, as it happened to me. I want you to be here all the time. Kunter Soul, I don't feel right about Pawar going to them. Titu, why distrust the Huelacans? They are members of the dynasty of your mother. For that same reason, they want one of their own to be crowned. Pawar's lineage is of the Ayarmancas, who are their worst enemies. Nevertheless, I will let him spend some time with them. Somehow, I have to learn to trust my people if we are going to become an empire. Meanwhile, Cuzco trembled with the news of faraway warlords coming to the city of the sun. The shamans sacrificed animals, and they predicted awful omens from their bubbling entrails, while chanting monotonous songs that scared anyone who listened to them. Sorcerers. What do you have to tell me? Are the Chancas coming? Worse yet, is anything going to happen to my son? Oh Yahuar Huaca. The lungs of this llama have deflated too soon. Its contours tell us that your reign is going to be as short as your childhood. Evil forces are coming to take Cuzco, and wicked people will claim your son. God-damned wizards. What I want to know is when are the Chancas coming, and who will claim my son? Kunter Soul, these shamans, all they do is keep to themselves what we don't know, so that we continue on coming back to hear them. Let's get out of this haunted place. I need chicha and coca to forget my fears. Weeks later, the unimaginable happened. Kunter Soul. My fate is my worst enemy. They have killed my son. I cannot even cry. I have no more tears left in me. Our people have no idea how cruel we are to ourselves. Paukar Alo. We have to avenge the death of your brother. We will destroy the Hualacans. I don't want a tree left standing or an animal left alive. Let this be the end of our pacifism. Titu, aren't you reacting harshly? So far you have taken your karma calmly. The Chancas will be coming, and the Incas will need all the clan leaders as your allies. Man of the future, from now on I will form alliances under the banner of our lances. You will be horrified with the blood that is going to run in this forming empire. With that awful omen, Yahuar Huaca left to avenge the death of his son. His priests followed after him, worried about his state of mind. He was no longer a reasonable leader. Nobody could stop him. As the city of the Hualacans was consumed by flames, Yahuar Huaca was seen uprooting an old tree and taking revenge on every vestige of life. His karma would not leave him alone, and the shamans were predicting worse things to come. The news reached to the Quechuas and the Chancas, who realized that the Incas were not as powerful, especially when they could lynch the prince and the future lord. I didn't want to ask Yahuar Huaca to give us his final words. He was distraught with grief, and his words would be the most desperate message of his tormented soul. Some time after, I returned hoping that Titu had overcome his bad luck. From far away, I could hear voices calling me, Kunter Soul. Kunter Soul. Where have you been? We thought you would never come back. Vikaquiro and Apo Meta. Where is Titu? Don't you know what happened to him? Everything that the shamans predicted was true. He is dead. He was so young, how did he die? While Apo Meta and I were in the south, the Quechuas were invited to a big celebration. In the midst of the fiesta, one of them struck Titu with a heavy golden vase. Oh no! Don't tell me it was a fatal blow. No! Before he could find refuge inside the temple, he was killed, along with most of his sons. He died without crowning his successor. We need a leader, and they are deciding who is going to be the next Sapa Inca. In the unfinished palace of Yahuar Huaca, the nobles of Cuzco were meeting to discuss who would be the next sovereign. As soon as their names were pronounced, they were instantly refuted. Some were even accused of being involved in the demise of Yahuar Huaca. Finally, a big woman stood up, and she spoke loudly. Listen up. Why are we arguing about the next leader? He is right here. He is the son of Yahuar Huaca with an Ayarmanca woman. For the sake of our Inca dynasty, let us choose this Aki prince who has proven to be a good warrior. The Chancas are at our doorsteps. We cannot procrastinate any longer. I say that Hatan Topa Inga should be our next Inca lord. Raspy voices could be heard, as they all murmured, Hatan Topa Inga, our next Sapa Inca. With that name in their lips, the nobles started to leave the place, no longer caring who would lead them into a bleak future. So, man of the future, you have arrived at the crucial moment of our history. With Hatan Topa Inga, the destiny of the empire will be different. He won't have the unfortunate karma that his father had. Thus, I have traveled one more chapter of my past in a cloud of questions, for which there are no answers.